Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Get comfortable because the tea is steaming hot. And so, of course, I would like to do some housekeeping and I would like to welcome all of the new subscribers who have recently joined the show. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining the family. Secondly, I would like to wish our beloved Prince and Princess of Wales, her and His Royal Highness, a happy 14th wedding anniversary. And of course, we know that the Rachel Ragland's latest podcast interview drop, which is conveniently on YouTube, has dropped on the eve of William and Catherine's wedding anniversary, which they are dutifully celebrating as they carry through their working royal duties. Congratulations on their 14th year of marital bliss. And of course, we know that Meghan is struggling to make the headline news. She's also struggling to land in the top 100 Spotify podcasts, with only her third debuting episode of her Confessions of a Female Founder podcast. And so she's desperate and she's officially swimming with the sharks. Now, I personally feel as though I cannot really cover this 1 hour and 35 minutes of drivel in simply one video. So I'm going to split this review up into 3 parts because there's so many insights that I got from this that really does give away how bad it is in Montecito for the gruesome twosome. And Rachel really has hit a nasty brick wall with this one. It's almost like watching a car crash slowly collide into a red brick wall that has been standing for 1,000 centuries. Kind of very similar to the way in which she tried to destroy an institution that has been standing for literally over a century now, thousands and thousands of years, going back to the early 1800s and before then. She's hit a brick wall. It would be like me taking an axe to Big Ben and simply trying to hack it down with my bare mortal hands. It just simply would not really happen, would it? Not even feasible or possible. And this, of course, is how we got here. So I loved this interview by Jamie Kern Lima, and I'll take my hat off to her. And a lot of you are gonna want to click out as I said that and say, well, why would you say this? It was so sycophantic. It was so high school girlish. It was so nice. It was so fake. It was so sickening to watch. And yes, I will agree with you on those points. It was sycophantic. It was so syrupy. It was ridiculous. They sounded like 2 14-year-old girls saying, oh no, I like you more. Oh no, I like you better. It was ridiculous. But there was an angle to this. Jamie Kern Lima is a ruthless, very intelligent, smart, sharp-witted businesswoman, and she's not a billionaireess for no reason. This woman knows what to do and how to play off her opponent. She knows how to self-benefit. If you noticed, or if you even got halfway through the interview, she was really hardcore pushing that You're Worthy book that she is trying to drive sales for. And of course, factually, I know between you and myself, we did not know who Jamie Kern Lima was before she had Rachel desperately sit on the rocking chair in her living room like she was about to win and pick up a goddamn Oscar. We didn't know who she was, and that's the very point I'm going to get to. She used Meghan's dire, desperate situation in order to elevate herself and get her name out there. And by the end of this week, the whole world will know who she is. But there is a 2-prong ending to this and conclusion to this, which is that Meghan genuinely thinks that she has friends. And she genuinely thinks that Jamie is a new friend and she's in her circle. And I beg to differ. This is no friend of Meghan. This is her foe, because any genuine friend would not have given her that floor to essentially put the noose slowly around her neck to really highlight how detached and delusional she is and drivel on about how much she loves her husband, how much she loves her kids, and how much they love her. And the emails that she's writing to them that they will open up when they're 16, 17, and 18, when quite possibly, I hate to say it, she may not be around. She allowed her to play into her psychopathic fantasies of how great and how kind she is and how much she doesn't need to prove herself. Is she serious? And that's the expression that was on Jamie's face. Are you seriously going to conclude at this very point, when it matters the most, when your views are the lowest, when your podcast is not even hitting the top 200 viewed podcasts, with all that worldwide fame and critics looking and breathing down your neck, you're going to conclude that you don't need to apologize to anybody? That you're kind, that you're syrupy, that you're good, that you're nice, and that you've got friends? Jamie gave a fantastic interview because she didn't bother giving one. And the reason why she didn't bother giving one, because someone who is steeped in the Walter Mitty complex, such as the Duchess of Sus, of course, doesn't do interviews. And I think, of course, at this point, those who have been watching the Rachel for any number of years can see that she doesn't do interviews. She does snooze fests. She does one-sided retells of her version of events. And as the Queen said, recollections may vary, but that's what she does. So the key to catch someone like Meghan and allow them to choke on their own spiel is to simply allow them to have the floor. And that's what Jamie said. She said, "You were so kind to me. You even gave me a note, signing it as HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. You gave me some ice cream, some organic churned whipped ice cream with your made up spread that I've had in my larder for a whole year. And I haven't told anybody about it. I like you so much. I'm so loyal. And your love with Harry is so fantastic." And wasn't it quite unnerving to watch Meghan talk about how much she loves Harry, how she has the hots for him, how attractive he is, even though he is experiencing, which he himself mocked in his own brother, extreme male pattern balding. In his book The Spare, he talks about how William's hair is falling out and how funny it all is that he's losing his hair, and he actually looks better than him. He has, quote unquote, I think he insinuated better genes, but he now is, of course, suffering from the same chronic male pattern balding that has befallen his brother. And yet he's so hot and attractive and sexy in the eyes of his wife. But is that really the answers that people really want? We want to know what's going on with the African Park scandal. We want to know what's going on with Sophie Chandaka. We would like to know why Harry keeps on appealing the once founded decision by the royal firm that his IPP status is to be stripped and never to be reinstated as long as he's no longer a working member of the royal family. And we also want to know why she persists on referring to herself as HRH, and why she persists in extending platitudes of being a member of the British royal family. It was interesting that Jamie was quite precise in asking her a few questions about how she refers to herself, whereby she said, "Do you refer to yourself as Markle?" And she's like, "No, I don't refer to myself as Markle anymore since I got married. What does it mean? We don't care. You are Meghan Markle, always will be. That is your name. That's who you are. You can do what you want. You can change the kids' last names to Sussex, but then we all know that working royals really don't have last names, so it just doesn't really make sense." But before I waffle on, I want to give you guys my conclusion as to why she was not sitting in the room with a companion or a friend. She was sitting in the room with her own opposition. The clip that I played at the beginning of the interview really does highlight what this is here. How do you feed into someone's vanity in order to get their truth? Megan did give us one truth during this interview. She's painfully miserable. She's painfully sad. And she never read the fine print. Because she does say that, right?
I want everyone to feel like they matter.
Yeah. Do you think our lives are divinely ordered, or like our steps are divinely ordered when you think about that moment and sort of like seeing that example, and now it's part of your life all the time?
Someone said to me last year when I sat down, they said, well, you know, this is your soul contract. You signed up for this. You signed up for this before you were here. I was like, well, I didn't read the fine print. Okay. To be clear, like, can I redline this and amend the small print because I signed up for this? They're like, no, you signed up for this. You signed up for this. This is your hand and this is your lap around the sun, or whatever you want to look at it as, because you can do this. And I guess on days that are hard, that's really grounding and affirming to remember. And then some days I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is this life? I would have never predicted it, but I'm grateful for it, even on the hardest days.
Yeah.
Even on the hardest days.
You know, in my life,
She never read the fine print. And that was her truest revelation. And I do not believe for one second that if Jamie would have challenged Megan or given her the hard question, that she would have even been sitting in that room with her. Of course she wouldn't. She's a narcissist to the umpteenth degree. So she had to give her the floor, but she also gave her a truth that Megan was stunned by. Megan was enraged by. Her body language said it all. She tried to smile through the pain, but her voice choked, it rasped, and it disappeared as Jamie Kern Lima concluded, "Girl, you're in the ring."
I've got this.
Yeah.
I want to read this quote in closing. It's a very famous quote, and I want to read it, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, because as your friend, as another woman, as a person who's had the gift of seeing glimpses inside of what you carry and deal with every day, like, I'm so freaking proud of you. Hope, I don't know, I'm getting emotional. I hope every girl and woman who's going to listen to this and watch this, who maybe is tempted to sit on the outside and think they don't have what it takes, or they can't face the battle that might come with them putting their idea out there, or their heart out there, or their friendship out there and saying, do you want to be friends? Or their book out there, or their story, or who they are on social media. They're scared of everything that comes with it. And so, you know, Brene Brown wrote this beautiful book called Daring Greatly. There's this really beautiful quote by Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, inside,
right?
In the arena.
Yes, man, in the arena. And I want to read this with a slightly like paraphrased version, because one of the things amongst many that I love so much about you is you're in the freaking arena. You are. You're in the arena. And so many girls and women, I have women in my family, multiple generations, who sit back and they're like, gosh, I wish I would have. I wish I could have.
Yeah.
I wish I put my idea out there. I wish I told that person I forgive them. I told that person I forgive them. I told that person I forgive them. Or I wish I went for it, you know? And so,
or if you're watching Jeopardy, even if you don't know the answer is right.
And you are a living, breathing example of going for it. You're putting yourself out there, and anybody living or breathing right now who puts any part of themselves out there, it doesn't matter what it is. It comes with critics. It comes with opposition. It comes with failure. I think about the number of times I failed in growing at cosmetics, or the no's that I got, or the times where it would have been so much easier to give up, or the times where it would have been so much easier to give up, or the times where it would have been so much easier to give up. Millions of times. It would have been so much easier to give up. And you are in the arena. So I want to close on this because I just know there's somebody listening to you and me right now, watching us right now, who needs this in their life.
And we've never talked about this quote. I love this quote. When you said, I was like,
about it.
Irina.
We never talked about it. And when I was literally praying before this interview today, and this is what kept coming to me. And I think that all of us together collectively in our own lives can almost like lean into this quote. So this is by Theodore Roosevelt. It's not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong woman stumbles. I'm going to paraphrase here. Or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That is you, my friend. I love you. Thank you for trusting me with your first ever podcast and with your friendship.
Yeah.
And with yeah.
Means a lot, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah.
The SHIT has hit the fan, and I feel sorry for you, with that Theodore Roosevelt quote. And so that concludes my version of part 1 for this interview. I'm going to create a part 2 for this interview because I personally feel it needs it. I'll be back, guys. Bye.